lady here, and what a week I've had. I damaged someone's worktop. It was a wooden worktop, but in my defense, it turned out that it hadn't been sealed and the client hadn't told me to be careful. So I treated it as if I was cleaning any other worktop. As you know, we generally don't offer one-off deep cleans as part of our service. However, this lady is friends with one of our existing clients who recommended us. She was putting her house on the market and wanted to spruce up before she had the photographers and any viewings. As soon as I realised that I had damaged the worktop, though, I just thought, oh God, why did I say yes to this? I don't even do one-off cleans. So it was a wooden worktop and the damage was just next to the sink and there was a chopping board next to it. Some water must have got in underneath the chopping board, and when I lifted it up to clean underneath, there was a chopping board shaped stain underneath it. And at the time, I wasn't really sure if it was me that had caused it or if the stain was already there. Um, but not only was there a stain, but there was a small patch of significant damage and splintering, and little pieces of the worktop had lifted, and you could kind of pick it off. So when the client got back, I asked her about the worktop, and it was clear from her reaction that it was me that had caused the damage. She was just like, "Oh my God, fuck, fuck, fuck. Oh my God, oh my God." And I was just thinking, oh God, here we go. Here comes another insurance claim. But she calmed down and she apologized for her reaction. But honestly, it was totally fine and it was understandable. I just said to her, it's fine. I'll get this sorted for you. But when I ran my hand along the worktop, I mentioned to her that it seemed quite rough to touch, and warm soapy water shouldn't have caused any sort of damage like that. And I asked if it had been sealed, and she said, "I should have told you. This guy left me this pot of oil and told me to put a few coats on it, but I didn't." Ah! So the next day, after a sleepless night worrying and a morning of nervous anticipation, her call finally came that afternoon to say that it had all been sorted. The carpenter had been, he sanded it down and he resealed it. The worktop insurance renewal increase was saved. But would the insurance have actually paid out, I wonder? Because a worktop that hasn't been sealed is going to absorb everything. And, if it hasn't been sealed, it can stain really, really easily. They can even warp. But maybe they would have accepted that I was partly liable. Who knows? I do actually have great insurance. And as a cleaner, it's really important that my insurance provides cover for property that is worked upon, something that a lot of insurance companies don't actually offer. So if I was going to use, I don't know, limescale remover on a gold tap and then it turns green, I want to know that I'm covered. Not that I would ever use any sort of limescale remover on gold taps, but you get my point. Actually, when I first started my business, I wasn't really a business back then. I was a self-employed cleaner, and it was long before I had my team. And also before I had any insurance, which was a really stupid mistake because I was doing an end of tenancy clean for a very high end letting agent. And the tenant was moving in on the Tuesday and I was given the keys on the Friday. So I had the whole weekend to clean the flat and then return the keys in time for the check in report and whatnot. Now, this flat was absolutely beautiful and it was already quite clean. So I think the previous tenants must have really looked after that flat. But the bathroom needed a bit of TLC because there was lots of white patches of limescale all over the floor. Now, this floor was black, glossy, mirror-like, shiny, beautiful. And I went in with my industrial strength limescale remover. I put it in the mop bucket and mopped the floor to remove the limescale. And it worked. The floor looked beautiful. And off I went to clean the rest of the flat. Just as I was about to leave, though, I did a final check of the place and I almost cried because the high shine, black, glossy, mirror like floor was now an uneven grey matte colour. And you can imagine the panic. So I rushed over to the nearest DIY shop. And it was one of these small shops that kind of sell a bit of everything, like mops and buckets, laundry baskets. They did key cutting, that kind of thing. I told them what had happened and they suggested beeswax. So I bought two pots of beeswax and I went back to repair the damage. And there I was on my hands and knees, rubbing this beeswax into the floor. And it worked. It worked temporarily because as I got up to bathe in the glory of this beautiful floor, I realised that one by one, the beeswax was just being absorbed into the tiles, with returning one by one to their grey, uneven, matte colour. I think I actually did cry at this point, but I tried to stay calm and I Googled a specific tile shop and I found Tops Tiles, which is like a big tile superstore. And I thought, well, if they can't help me, then I really don't know where else I'm going to turn. So rushed over to Tops Tiles and explained what had happened, feeling like a complete idiot, which I was. And the guy said, right, the limescale remover has effectively taken off the finish and you need to reseal the floor. In my mind, I was just thinking like these big power tools and how the hell am I going to reseal the floor? Am I going to have to take the floor up? And, but it turned out it was just a bottle of sealer and a little foam roller. He instructed me to apply 2 coats, which I did. And do you know what? The letting agent never found out and I got away with it. I thanked the universe and I went and got myself some insurance. I used my insurance company probably about twice in the 12 years of having the business. The first time was when one of my cleaners left a damp sponge on a sisal stair carpet, which left a sponge-shaped stain on the bottom step. Now, sisal carpets are a natural fibre. They absolutely can't get wet, even with water. But my insurance company gave the client some compensation and the client is still with me today. The other time that I used my insurance was when one of my cleaners was working in a flat and the owner was on holiday and there was a builder or somebody working one of the other flats in the building and they turned off the water. The cleaner couldn't get the tap to work, obviously, and she left it on the position. So, of course, when the client got back from holiday, she got the lovely surprise of condensation and water damage everywhere. Thank God my insurance company were amazing. They went over to see the client. They paid for a new kitchen for her. The client, again, is still with me, but my insurance went up. It actually doubled the following year. If we do break or damage something and the cost of that is less than my excess, then I'm not going to contact my insurance company. I'll just pay for it myself. And I don't even think that my insurance company would entertain any claim for less than my excess anyway. But if I ever do need to use my insurance, then I absolutely do not charge any admin fee or charge my clients the excess, which surprisingly some companies do. I think that if your company is at fault, then it should be put right at no cost at all to the client. I'm actually on first name terms with a bath enamelling company. Yeah, that sounds really bad, doesn't it? I've used them about 4 times to re-enamel baths that have been chipped because of something falling in it. And it's actually quite easy to do. If you've got wet hands and you're cleaning a bath or a bathroom, something can easily be dropped in it, especially shower heads, vases, bottles, all sorts of things. One of my ladies even slipped over and pulled down a kitchen cupboard door once. But luckily, I have a great handyman that I have on speed dial. Actually, everyone's on speed dial now, aren't they? With modern phones and all. But I do have a handyman that I use. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't matter how careful you are. Accidents happen, and being a cleaner and working in people's houses is a risk. But it is how the company deals with it. If I know that we're at fault, then I will absolutely put it right. But if I think someone's trying it on to get my insurance or me to pay for something that we definitely haven't done, then there's no way that I'm going to pay it. So that's the reality of working in people's homes. No matter how experienced you are, things can go wrong. But what matters is owning it, sorting it, and learning from it. Thanks for spending this time with me. This has been the Cleaning Lady podcast, and I'll be back next week with more stories from behind the scenes. Happy cleaning!